Today we're focusing our attention on issues to do with the SDGs that have been mentioned from the last summit in 2015 and how far we've gone, because some interesting facts we're picking up suggest that, especially for SDG 5 and 10, it looks as though there is very little or no commitment at all from some countries, including Ghana. Let's get some more details on this. I'm joined in the studio today by Mr. Yakubu Mohammed Sani. He's the Deputy Country Director and Head of Programs and Policy at Action. Thank you, sir, for coming today.
Thank you.
And so, much as the bigger narrative has been about what's being said on the podium and our commitment to these things, you've done some research when it comes to the SDG 5 and SDG 10.
Yes.
What have you identified with these two?
Yeah, one of the key issues we identify had to do with the legal and legislative framework that will actually facilitate the realization of these SDGs. It's not just about talking about the SDGs, but it's about how prepared you are to ensure that you are able to implement the commitments to meet the targets that we are talking about. And out of the 14 developing countries that we have assessed, we've realized that only 3 are actually ready. They are only ready, they are not even ready to implement. But now we are talking about, it's about readiness, it's also about implementation.
So for the 3 who are ready and have not even spoken about implementation, it's Ghana part of that?
Yeah, Ghana is one of the countries. We are talking about Brazil, we are talking about South Africa.
South Africa.
These are actually the 3 countries.
So when you say we are ready and not committed, what exactly do you mean?
We have a social protection policy which is very critical, especially when you are addressing issues of unpaid care work of women and women empowerment in general. And you know, our research is actually focusing on women empowerment and inequality. So yes, in terms of social protection, we are talking about the LEAP, we are talking about other what is the products that we have as far as the social policy, the social protection policy is concerned. Now it's about the implementation. Fine. We have made a whole lot of noise around LEAP, which is fine, but in terms of adequacy is another issue. But let's also appreciate, especially when you look at SDG 10, it's talking about reducing inequality. And inequality we are talking about, it's not just about income inequality. It's about power, it's about people's participation, it's about access to social facilities like education, health, agri, and what have you.
Okay, let's pause for a moment and break this down, because I'm sure there are many who will be watching and asking themselves, okay, SDG 5, SDG 10, what's all this? Let's break it down for the ordinary Joe to understand. When you say SDG 5 on gender equality, what does it mean? What are we supposed to achieve with it?
What we are supposed to achieve here is to ensure that gender parity, so that in terms of access to whatever it is that we are talking about, we have fair access, equitable access for both men and women, boys and girls, and disabled. That is all that we are talking about. Then when we are also talking about inequality, we are looking at inequality from a broader perspective, not in terms of income disparities, but in terms of even the degree of control over resources, degree of making decisions, and what have you. These are all the elements that we are talking about. And we in civil society, yes, it's good we celebrate over the establishment or maybe the formulation of policies and what have you. It gives us some kind of legitimacy to campaign for the actual implementation. And that is why we are so happy about these 3 countries who seem to be ready. But now it gives us that kind of legitimacy to campaign for the implementation of these policies that we have formulated to ensure that at least we're able to achieve the targets.
Okay. Now you say that there is a need for us to put together some kind of legal framework for the 5 and 10 to be implemented. What does it take to do that? And do we know why that has not been done yet?
In Ghana, we have the social protection policy which was approved by Parliament. That is fantastic. Now we need resources to ensure that it's effectively implemented. We need to also ensure that it's well coordinated. It's interesting for you to appreciate that in terms of the social policy, social protection products, we have them in almost every ministry. Again, we'll talk about social protection. Education, we'll talk about social, when you're talking about free uniform, when you're talking about exercise books, when you're talking about school feeding programs, health, we are talking about the national health insurance. How are these things coordinated? Because it's important for us to appreciate that poverty is not affecting people in isolation. It's simultaneous. It's about health, it's about education, it's about food, it's about... So how are we able to ensure that we coordinate all these processes to ensure that we maximize the impact of this intervention.
And you see, with the report we played just before we started the conversation today about those young kids who have to share one school uniform, you can only imagine that when it comes to the basic needs that they have in terms of food, clothing, and shelter, it's difficult for them to get it.
So that is the inequality we are talking about. So it's not enough to say, okay, let's give them 5 cities, let's give them 8 cities. Fine, it's addressing some kind of immediate need in terms of maybe fine, they'll use the money to buy something. But beyond that, how are they able to access education? Access to education is not just about providing the structure, but it's about ensuring that that enabling environment is conducive for these children to actually learn. And uniform is critical.
Okay.
And here is the case we are talking about people sharing uniform. So what it means is that when I'm sharing my uniform with you, it means that the day I'm sharing mine with you, it means that I will leave school